So look, I'm old enough to remember when the right wing online really pretended like their main issue that they cared about was free speech. It was the Constitution, it was the First Amendment, it was freedom of speech, it was comedians having the ability to speak their mind without backlash, right? And there was a solid, 3-year period, maybe 4-year period, where that's all they could fucking talk about. They would find some story of some obscure college in the middle of the country where a group of lefties tried to get like Ben Shapiro deplatformed or Ann Coulter deplatformed, and they would make that a news cycle for a week. They'd be like, censorious authoritarian lefties, they hate America, they hate the Constitution, they hate the freedoms we were founded on. This is what you'd hear, right? And I remember at the time saying, look, let the conservatives speak. Who gives a shit? I don't think Ann Coulter or Ben Shapiro, if you actually let them speak their mind, they're no danger. They're no danger because their ideas are trash, and like eventually people will wake up to that. By the way, that certainly has happened with Ben Shapiro. His numbers have imploded, but I digress from that point. Well, I always said, look, it actually is the leftists who are really in favor of free speech. We've always been the ones leading the charge in favor of free speech. Why? Because our ideas actually threaten the status quo, the establishment, the powers that be. To be a leftist, by definition, is to be an outsider. To be a leftist is somebody who's saying, hey, corporations, billionaires, the government, the people who actually run shit, y'all are fucking up, and we don't like it. And here's how we need to fix it. Here's what we need to do. We need to rein in your fucking power. If you're calling for raising taxes on billionaires and corporations, they kind of do want to silence you, don't they? Corporations run fucking everything. So we're always the ones who are first to be silenced. So I've always been a staunch supporter of freedom of speech. Well, guess what? Now, Donald Trump, the president of the so-called free speech right-wingers, the guy himself who sucked himself off like he was pro-free speech, right? He is waging the biggest crackdown on free speech I've ever seen in my entire life, and it's not even close. As per usual with Donald Trump, it was just a trick. It was just a scam. It was just talking points. It was just marketing. It was just PR to get his fat ass in the White House, right? And then once he got there, it's, oh shit, of course I want to ban all the speech that's critical of me. I'm right about everything, so fuck anybody who dissents even 1% from me. So here we go. This video here, more than anything, it shows symbolically where we're at right now in this country. This isn't federal troops that arrest her. This is, state or local. It's all police officers. But this shows where we're at in this country. What Trump has unleashed in this country. Rank authoritarianism and fascism. Let's call it what it is. So here you had a bunch of anti-war protesters get out there in the streets, in cold-ass weather too, by the way, and in Grand Rapids of all places. And they're out there and they're going, this is an illegal regime change. This is unacceptable. Nobody wanted this. And watch, as soon as she's done giving her anti-war talking points, look at what happens.
This is not just a foreign issue. It's our tax dollars that are also being used to commit these war crimes. It is also the duty of us, the people, to stand against the Trump regime, the Trump administration that are committing crimes both here in the U.S. and against people in Venezuela.
Now, in the background of this interview, you could see that police car. And now right here, we're showing you video we have. Immediately after the interview finished, Plickta was arrested by 2 Grand Rapids police officers. You can see it in the video. And an officer tells Plickta that she is being arrested for obstructing a roadway and failure to obey a lawful command from a police officer. You can see as she's taken away in that car, she was issuing a number of messages about wanting the U.S. to free Maduro. But again, she was taken away by police.
That is what they say is blocking a roadway. This right here. No U.S. war with Venezuela. That sign says no war. In the background, I see another one says no war and then something else underneath it. That's what they say is blocking a roadway, where they're clearly not blocking a roadway.
Officers were closely following this procession in downtown Grand Rapids. We have reached out to GRPD for more information about the arrest, but we have not heard back so far.
So this is what this country is now, y'all. We're dealing with the president who tried to get Jimmy Kimmel, a moderate late night comedian, fired over jokes. Remember that? Then the backlash was so overwhelming that ABC was forced to bring his ass back. We have a president who ordered the deportation of innocent people because they joked about Charlie Kirk or just quoted him after he was killed. We literally have people deported because they said the wrong thing about Charlie Kirk. Literally. We have a president who threatened a RICO case against protesters from Code Pink, who called him a warmonger to his face. He sued Ann Selzer for a poll he didn't like. He sued CBS for how they edited a Kamala Harris interview. He sued the New York Times for $15 billion because he didn't like their reporting. He sued a book company over a quote he didn't like. He threatened to de-license news outlets that criticize him. He's openly said repeatedly he wants to punish flag burning with a year in jail. That is so against the First Amendment. There is a literal Supreme Court case on this exact issue from the late 1980s where they said, even the conservative justices were like, bro, this is like the definition of free speech. If you burn a flag, it's obviously like symbolic and it's in protest of like a specific action that the government did at that time. And Trump tried to ban that and put people in jail for a year. He sued CNN for $475 million because they used the term the big lie when talking about his election denialism. Before he was president, he sued Bill Maher for $5 million over a joke. If any leftist in the world acted like Trump acts on this stuff, oh my God, they would be laughed out of town, bro. They would be like the butt of the joke in perpetuity online. Like, really? Imagine a lefty with a septum ring and pink hair on a college campus go, I'm suing you because your joke hurt my feelings. They would be like, oh my God, bro, we got it. Like, we can meme the shit out of this from now until the end of time. But the president of the United States does it. Donald Trump does it. And they still act like, oh, that's my guy and he's in favor of free speech. Like, what the fuck are you guys smoking? What are you smoking? So, I mean, it's just incredible. And let's not forget, the biggest crackdown on free speech is trying to deport pro-Palestine protesters. And they literally disappeared some pro-Palestine protesters. Look at what they did to Rumeisa Ozturk. Look at what they did to Mahmoud Khalil. Like, now, if you're critical of the state of Israel, they've effectively made that illegal if you're also an immigrant. And by the way, we're all probably on a list. If you're an American and you're making these criticisms, I guarantee you're on a list somewhere because we have NSPM 7, where the government is now saying, forget looking at terrorists, forget looking at people who might actually be a threat. No, look at leftists. Look at liberals, look at leftists, look at people who disagree with President Trump. Because obviously, they're the real problem. By the way, think about how ironic it is. He wants to come after leftists for being anti-American or whatever the fuck, right? And use all the government and the intelligence agencies to spy on us and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Trump himself called for, quote, the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles in the Constitution over his election loss. But somehow, that's perfectly American. It's perfectly American to say fuck the Constitution, according to Donald Trump, as long as he says it. God forbid, if Ilhan Omar ever said anything similar to that, oh my God, he would have a fucking conniption. He'd have an aneurysm. It's absolutely incredible, bro. It's absolutely incredible what we're dealing with here. So the war on free speech is in full swing. It's in full swing. And all these people on the right who cloak themselves in the First Amendment, all of them are fucking nowhere to be found. You will not hear a fucking peep out of Ben Shapiro saying, look, I might disagree with this woman on the issue of Venezuela, but it's crazy that they fucking arrested her. Guys, I forgot even the biggest example. I forgot the biggest example. There was a retired police officer, I think it was in Tennessee. He posted a meme, and it was Trump saying we have to get over it in regards to mass shootings. This guy posted it in reference to Charlie Kirk. They locked him up for 37 days. And now he's suing, by the way, too, which he should. They should give that guy fucking $10 million over what he had to go through. In the United States of America, a fucking joke meme locked up for 37 days? Are you kidding me? But that's who these people are. That's who these people are. And none of them said anything. Dave Rubin said nothing. Fucking Ben Shapiro said nothing. Fucking all these people, who are Milo Yiannopoulos, all these people, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a... If you're a lefty, if you're just not MAGA, you're persona non grata. You don't count. You're unpersoned. Right? There's that guy, Jack Posobiec. He literally wrote a book going after progressives, and I think he called it Unhumans. We're not humans, we're unhumans, right? This is how they think. You and me don't have rights. We don't have freedoms. When they talk about that, it's only for them. It's only for them. So that's where we are, y'all. So this video right here is just absolutely disturbing. It's disturbing. And I don't know how anybody can watch that and not realize how far we've fallen, you know? And the irony of it all is the same people who pretended like their main issue was free speech are the ones who are murdering free speech in broad daylight right in front of our faces.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.